Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Big Story, where we discuss the hottest topics of the day right here in the heart of the newsroom. My name is Alyssa Wu, and I'm coming to you live from the Straits Times. We are streaming right now on Facebook and YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, do like our page and click that bell button to be notified whenever we go live. I'll be joined very shortly by my newsroom colleagues, where we'll discuss the topic that got you talking today. So swimmer Joseph Schooling finished 8th in his 100-meter butterfly heat at the Fina World Championships in South Korea this morning. The 24-year-old clocked a time of 52.93 seconds and will miss the semi-finals that will take place the same evening. He also missed out on the men's 50-meter butterfly semi-finals. To discuss this further, we have the assistant sports editors, Rohit and Fhoong, with us. Hi both.
Hey, hi. Nice to be here.
So, since winning his first and Singapore's first Olympic gold medal in 2016, Schooling has had a few ups and downs, you would say? Will you agree with me?
Yep.
Right, so what are maybe some struggles that he's going through that the general public may not be privy to?
I think that one of the things we will have to understand first is, and we're going back a little way here, is that winning an Olympic gold actually comes with many things. I mean, one of the things that happens to Olympic champions, and people find this strange, is they get depressed. I'm not saying this happened to Joseph, but it happens. And one of the reasons is because you're chasing something all your life. I mean, from the time maybe that you are 10 years old, 11, 12 years old, you're single-mindedly every single day chasing something. And most of us, we find gratification maybe in our 30s and our 40s or whatever we get to our peak. So, but for people like Joseph at 21 years old, you've done the thing that you wanted most in your life, and then you wonder, hey, what do I do now? And so sometimes athletes get depressed. A lot of the time they just need to take time off because, you know, you're living like a monk, you know, how you eat, you can't party, you're sacrificing, you're doing everything just aimed at this one thing. So then you tend to eat a little bit, you take a little bit of time off because it's intense. I mean, I think the world of the professional athlete is, which we don't see because there are no cameras at practice, is incredibly intense. And so I think you need some downtime. And then what happens is, then you have to come back out of that again and then, you know, refine the discipline. Your body is changed, mentally you've changed because now you've got pressure, you're an Olympic champion. So it's not an easy path. So I think it's one of the things that, and nobody prepares you for this. It doesn't matter who's done it, especially when you come from a country where nobody's won an Olympic gold medal before. It's a difficult path to negotiate. And I think Joseph had small difficulties here and there, and then I think that's normal, but it's hard. I think people have to realize that it's hard.
So what you're describing is that he's coming down from the winner's high. Maybe another change that happened would be a change in his environment. So he moved back to Singapore from America, right?
Yeah, so I think, you know, that's another thing, you know, your environment changes, your coaches change, you know, you probably, if you walked around in America at that time, nobody knew who he was. Here, of course, you know, people love him and people are terrific with him, you know, but they want to shake his hand. And so there's little different pressures, little environments change. Your coaches are going to be different and they're going to coach you in slightly different ways. So I think that all changes. The guys who you are practicing with are changing, you know, who maybe in America they may be of a higher level and pushing you every day. Maybe here it's slightly different. So it's a change.
And also he's graduated from university, so now he has to supplement his income with not just swimming. And there were some comments or maybe criticisms on him taking a bit too many commercials.
You want to take that, Fhoong?
I think, I mean, of course, he has been appearing a lot more on TV and whatever, and people saying, oh, maybe he's distracted by all these commitments. But I think for any professional athlete, it's really about being able to balance these commitments with training. And he's done, I think, a relatively good job, and his people have helped him manage that time as well. So, I mean, it's something that all professional athletes go through. I mean, Michael Phelps had lots of endorsements, all that. He still managed to do that. So I think it's really about him finding a good balance in this 1 year that he has till the Olympic Games.
Now, Fhoong, you had the pleasure of speaking to the head coach of Singapore's national swim team, Stephen Whitmer, at length earlier today. What do you both talk about?
Okay, we talked a little about what Rohit said earlier, or you mentioned earlier about him making that move, a big transition from US, you know, moving back to Singapore. So Whitmer did say that it is a massive transition phase for Schooling and for any athlete, and, you know, for professional sports or for athletes, consistency in training environment, the team, the people around you, your coaches, is very crucial. So it is something that's really hit him for the last 4 to 5 months, and something that he's obviously had to adjust to, and it's, like he said, a massive transition change for him. He also did say that he didn't elaborate on how much training or what exactly he needed to do, but he said it has to be meaningful, hard training that he puts in. And then it's also not about just training hard, but he still has a year to the Olympic Games. Some people might say it's too little time. He thinks it's okay, but every minute, every second, every session, everything that he does in the pool has to count from now to 2020.
Is Whitmer giving special attention to schooling, or how does it work when it comes to training in the swim team?
I think he has a team around him. He's a technical director. There are other coaches as well. They have physios. They have sports scientists. So it really is an entire team that's working with Joseph as he heads into the Olympics.
And you also mentioned before this about the Olympic and timings. So coach said something about a timing that ideally schooling, or maybe if anyone wants to take the goal and next Olympics, they have to meet a certain timing.
There's a qualifying time, but then we're talking mainly about all the times based on the heats which people like Caleb Dresser or Chad Leclerc were putting in these heats, what it will possibly take to win the 2020 Olympic gold medal. So he didn't say Joseph needs to hit this time, but it'll probably, to win a gold medal, someone will have to do probably about 49.3 to 0.6, which would be a world record time. So this is an indication of how fast everyone has to go in order to win this gold medal next year compared to what it was 4 years ago.
So let's talk about the other swimmers now, as well as schooling. How is schooling as a swimmer compared to some of the fastest swimmers right now? So American Caleb Dressel, he's 22, he had 50.28 seconds in the heat, so he was first in the heats. And there was also the Hungarian Christoph Milak, he's 19, and he had 51.42 seconds.
Yep. So I think that, by far, Caleb Dressel is probably, you could say, the best all-round male swimmer in the world right now, wins multiple gold medals. And he's been under 50 seconds and could well go under 50 seconds in the finals tomorrow, right? Tomorrow. And so he's fast, he's really fast. He's probably, you would say, would be the best bet for a gold medal at the Olympics, even though there's 1 year away. Milak, I think, surprised everybody because he broke Michael Phelps's long-standing 200-meter butterfly record, and so he's there, he's not far off. You can't tell too much from the heat timings. You just want to qualify to get into the semis and then get into the final or whatever, but there are a lot of fast guys. And Joseph at the moment is obviously, if they're all timing 50.28, 51.42, and he's 52.93, that's a big gap because we're talking fractions of a second. But last year, I think in the Asian Games, Joseph swam fast. So I think if you can become slower, you can also, I believe, become faster. So you can cut times. So I think that in swimming, you have to compete with yourself. It's not like tennis where you can affect the other athlete by the way you play. You're in your own lane. You have to swim your own time. So I think Joseph, actually in his head, needs to almost pick a time that he needs to meet. That say, okay, maybe I have to swim 49.7. That's what I'm capable of. I have to get there and I have to aim for that. And I think that's the way he should do it. That you can't be thinking of other people and other times all the time because it'll drive you crazy. So you know where you are, and then you set a point of where you need to be, and then you do everything possible. Everything, as she said. I like what she said, that basically you have 1 year, right? I calculated that in seconds when I was just researching my column, and every second counts. So you do every session well. And I think for him, a really good role model is somebody like Nadal. Nadal, if you watch him practice, he never fools around in practice. I'm not saying Joseph does, but I'm saying he takes every practice seriously. And I think that's the way you have to give everything. He's only got 1 year. Is it possible? Anything is possible. I think Joseph just has to find his best self, and I think it's possible to do that.
And to his credit, he did back the bronze medal in 2015 and 2017. So there's always a chance, right? We shouldn't be quick to label him as a
look. The first thing that everybody needs to admit is what Joseph has given us has been incredible. And he's won us a lot of medals. He's won us, at 2 Asian Games, he's won us gold medals, he's won us a Commonwealth medal, he's won us medals at 2 World Championships, he's won us Olympic gold. It's fabulous, So I think that, we should have faith in him.
So is it unrealistic then to expect him to have good timings at every swim meet? And typically for a professional swimmer, how many swim meets do they go to in a year?
I think, well, they really do go to quite a lot, more than 10, I think, a year, or maybe even 20 for some of them. But swimmers usually, they try to, I think they have target meets every year, like say maybe 2 or 3 that they really want to peak at. So some of the rest are just, let's see where we're at, or when you're training and you go out and compete. But there are some target meets that you do. But that said, I think the Fina World Championships would have been a huge target meet for any swimmer. So it would have been a good indication for him to see for himself where he stood, whether he was confident or not, what his training times, things working, does he need to tweak something. So that's something he needs to work with the team on. But Fina was definitely a huge target meet for him.
So you already covered what his chances are going to be at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. So he just have to train hard, but he has to be careful not to overdo it, correct?
Yes.
Balance. Everything is balance.
Don't burn out.
Right. And so we were talking about expectations and the pressures on Joseph Schooling. What do you think about Singapore's expectations on him?
I mean, I'm sure she'll also have a view. I mean, firstly, I think pressure is natural. All great athletes, trying to achieve something, they're used to pressure. Actually, in all the times that I've been with Joseph in public, I mean, not many times, a few times, I find people really, really love him. I mean, they're really nice with him, and I find, he enjoys it. People are very gentle with him. People want to shake his hand, or you want to autograph, you want to photograph. It's really nice to see, actually, to be honest. So I mean, of course, people expect him. I think there's an expectation, but there's also a wanting. I think people want him to do well, and they're on his side. So I think it's a good thing. I mean, they're going to be the odd troll, but I don't even think about that. I mean, I think generally people, they have faith in him, and they're on his side, and I think they like him.
I think the thing with Joseph is, from my interactions with him, he enjoys the pressure. Like a lot of professional athletes, they like the push. So to him, it's like, if you're gonna write me off and say I'm not gonna win anything, I'm gonna come back stronger. So that also gives him that fire to compete. So that's something that's quite special about him and some of the other professional athletes. So it's like, you can diss me all you want, but I'm going to come back and win this and show you better.
Okay, let's say Joseph Schooling is watching this now or maybe later. Do you have anything you would like to say to him? Any words of encouragement?
I just say, fight, kid, fight.
Fhoong?
Yeah, I think he probably just needs to dig really hard and fight it himself, because I think we all believe in him, and he should as well.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
So for more stories on Joseph Schooling and also on the Fina World Swimming Championships, you can head to straitstimes.com. That was our top story for today. For more news and videos, do log on to straitstimes.com. Once again, I'm Alyssa. Join us again next Monday at the same time and same place for more big stories.